Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This bunny was one of my first ever successful crochet projects. It's a bit uneven, there are gaps, the stitches are inconsistent, and honestly the sewing sucks. Honestly, the yarn I used really sucks too, and it is not cuddly at all. It's very stiff and just hard. But today, after years of practice, we are going to remake her. And I guess we'll see how far I've truly come. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jay, and I taught myself how to crochet when I was 16. As a teenager, I did quickly grow bored of the craft. I was a chronic craft abandoner, if you will. I did, however, pick the craft back up when I was around 22 or 23-ish. I was unemployed and going through a lot at the time, so jumping into an old hobby brought me a lot of comfort and joy and confidence. I'm now 27, and I've been crocheting ever since, so I now have a lot of experience under my belt. Here is the original bunny that we're attempting to recreate. It's so crazy to me that at the time I was so proud of this, and all my friends and family just absolutely hyped this up, saying it was the cutest thing in the world. Because obviously now I'm looking at it with a new lens and I see so many imperfections and ways to improve. I didn't even know yet about the invisible decrease method, so throughout this whole pattern I'm using regular decreases, which created such large gaps in my stitches. You will never again catch me making regular decrease stitches in amigurumi. I don't think this is a hot take, but if you're doing amigurumi, you should never make a regular decrease. They suck for amigurumi. Like I said, you will never catch me doing that again. But I remember mostly struggling with the sewing aspects. Take the embroidered nose, for example. It probably took me a million attempts to be satisfied with it because I'm such a perfectionist and I really wanted it to be perfect, but I obviously just didn't have the skill set for that yet. So I do remember that being really frustrating. But also just sewing in general was such a struggle for me. It took me quite a long time to get the hang of sewing. I specifically remember not liking how the ears looked after I sewed them on, so I just went so crazy. Get it? And I just kept sewing. I literally sewed the back of the ears on. And then I also did the same thing for the feet. Like, these are supposed to be hanging, but I just like sewed them onto the belly. And none of this was part of the pattern, by the way. Like, I just started sewing everything down because I couldn't make it look right, that I just kept sewing and sewing and sewing to fix my mistakes. And it just led to me sewing everything together. I don't know. Anyways, that reminds me, the pattern. I followed a YouTube tutorial and it is still up. I will leave the link down below because I don't want to absolutely butcher the creator's name. So make sure to check the description for the link if you want to crochet this bunny with me. They also have a written version on Etsy, which you can find their link in their description of their video in case you're interested in that instead. As far as improvements go, I'm really hoping that you guys will be able to tell that my stitch consistency has drastically improved, along with my sewing skills, because the sewing was really bad on this. Specifically, I want to fix how I sewed on the ears and the feet. So let's get into what I plan to do for this project. When Joann's was having their closing sale, I bought a ton of vintage white Bernat blanket yarn. So I feel like this is the perfect option for me. I already have it on hand and I definitely have enough. I think I bought like 7 skeins or something crazy. They were only like $4 a skein. These are originally like 12-13 bucks. I couldn't resist. Anyways, in the original, I clearly used some sort of worsted weight yarn, and I hate using this weight of yarn for amigurumi projects now. That's just a personal preference, to be honest. I went from worsted weight to blanket to chenille, and now I mostly use chenille, but I do go back to some blanket yarn every once in a while. When I crochet with Bernat blanket, I usually either use a 5.5mm hook or a 6mm hook. I do have a 5.5mm clover hook, and my 6mm hook is just this metal hook, so the 5.5 is more so calling my name. I used to hate the ergonomic hooks because I started with the metal hooks, obviously, like most people, and I just felt like I worked so much better with a metal hook, but ever since I started using clover hooks, it's just been a game changer. But I did used to hate this style of hook, and now I love it. And I found that Clover is one of my favorite brands, but I honestly haven't tried too many different brands of hooks, so my opinion isn't super experienced in the hook realm, if you will. Cat toy. I'm trying to get it with my feet right now. So disgusting. It's one of those automatic ones that moves everywhere. It's probably so dirty from the floor. Just gonna set that down there. And of course, I'm also going to use stuffing, stitch markers, needles, etc., but none of that is going to be like super different or crazy. I do want to use different eyes though. I'm not sure exactly which ones yet. I'm going to crochet the head and see how big it ends up, and then I'll decide from there. Now that we've got our materials all figured out, we can hop right into crocheting, but first I want to tell you about today's sponsor. I'm super excited to partner with Skillshare for today's video. Skillshare is a digital learning platform with thousands of online classes ranging in categories like arts and illustration, design, and photography. These classes are taught by amazing world-class creatives like professional illustrators, renowned graphic designers, and successful entrepreneurs. You can learn directly from real, super talented, successful creatives. I'm personally always looking for ways to improve my skill of crocheting, so of course I had to take the Crochet Master class to prepare for this video, so I could finally call myself a crochet master, duh. The teacher slowly taught me how to crochet 4 different crochet critters, all ranging in skill level, until I officially mastered the final plushie. The lessons didn't just include tutorials on how to make the plushies, there were also lessons on special crochet techniques like invisible decrease decreases, and color changing. I learned a few tips and tricks I'd never seen before, so even if you'd consider yourself a skilled creator, I'm sure there's something new you could learn within these lessons as well. Honestly, these classes include everything I wish I had learned sooner throughout my crochet learning journey, and it's great because it's all in one place. I loved how easy the lessons were to digest because they're quite short and straight to the point. I sometimes have a hard time focusing, so it was really great to feel accomplished after completing a shorter lesson. It's especially great if you have a busy schedule and want to just squeeze in a fun and quick 10-minute lesson. It can be done at your own pace, making it less overwhelming and also making it a rewarding experience to hold yourself accountable during the process. Overall, my favorite thing about these lessons wasn't only that it includes valuable knowledge on how to crochet plushies, but how easy it was to digest and accomplish. I love how the giraffe turns out, and it's also no-sew. Can you believe it? That's one of the amazing skills that you'll learn throughout this crochet masterclass. It was really awesome because I love learning new no-sew techniques. Skillshare is an amazing platform to learn new skills, so if you ever wanted to learn to crochet a plushie like this, take this as your sign. The first 500 people to use the link in my description below or scan this QR code right here will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So you can also become a crochet master. Or who knows, maybe you want to become a photography master, an interior design master, or a digital art master. All of those are great options as well. So it looks like we're starting with the head. They do a magic ring 6, but I'm actually going to do a magic ring 12 since I'm using burlap blanket. If you do a magic ring 6 with burlap blanket, it tends to be more cone shaped instead of flat, if that makes sense. So I always just upsize my stitch count to match round 2 if I'm using a bulkier yarn. I will say I haven't crocheted amigurumi with blanket yarn in quite some time, and I'm only on round 5 and my fingers do kind of hurt a little bit. I forgot this is why I kind of prefer chenille yarn a little bit more these days. But anyways, this is a good time to show you that this is what I mean when I say I do a magic ring 12 to make the piece flatter. If I did a magic ring 6, this piece would be a bit more pointy in the center, like a cone. But there's also different ways to do this. You could do a magic ring single crochet 8 instead of a magic ring single crochet 12, and then for round 2 just do single crochet increase times 4. But I personally just really like doing magic ring 12, so that's what I do. Oh my god, another thing that I'm changing that I didn't even think to mention was the fact that I'm going to be staggering my increases and decreases. This is such second nature to me nowadays that I didn't even think about mentioning it. It won't make a significant difference in the overall look of your plushie, but it will make your rounds less of a hexagon shape and more of a circle shape like this. I feel like it makes the stitching look a lot cleaner and it's much more satisfying to me, so I always do that. Editor J is going to insert an example of what I mean because I feel like that's so much easier than sitting here trying to explain it to you. But yeah, this pattern doesn't include staggered increases and decreases, so I'm just going to do that myself. I'm at the point where I want to add the eyes. I put a little bit of stuffing in here just to kind of fill it up a little bit before I put the eyes in. Now I have to decide if I want to do regular black eyes or if I want to do the kawaii style like 3D eyes. At first I was leaning more towards the kawaii eyes, but I think doing the black eyes might be really cute. I don't know, let's test a couple things. Here's what we're looking like with the 3D kawaii eyes. They are super cute. They don't have any backings in them. I'm just kind of testing them out to see what they look like. This is very cute. This is an option. Or we could go with these cute little black eyes. I'm having a really hard time deciding. I'm wondering if because I use black eyes for the original one, if I should stick with the black eyes for the new one. Ugh, having a really hard time deciding. I think it might be best to stick with the original black eyes if I'm honest. I'm gonna stuff it a little more and see if I like the eyes. Here's how we're looking after I stuff the head a little bit more. By the way, these are 18mm eyes. I am a little bit curious if I size down to 16mm eyes, what that would look like. So I'm gonna swap these out for 16mm real quick just to see what they would look like. All right, here's what 60mm is looking like. I don't know if that looks a bit more proportional. It does look a little bit goofy right now, but you kind of just have to see the vision for what it is. Ugh, but I don't know what eyes to use. I feel like the smaller ones are a little bit more proportional. I just put them one stitch closer. It's between these black 16mm eyes, the black 18mm eyes, and the 25mm kawaii safety eyes, and I am having such a hard time deciding. I'm gonna sit on this for a second. I'll be back. I took some time to reflect. I would like to use the kawaii safety eyes. I think those look the cutest, especially with this head shape. But since we did use black eyes for the original, I kind of want to do the black eyes for our new one too. In between the 16 and 18 millimeter, I decided to go with the 16 millimeter because I want to do face details, and the face details will kind of widen the eyes a little bit. And I also feel like the 18 millimeter looked a little too buggy. So yeah, I think the 16 millimeter looks much proportional to the head size and everything. So that's what we're going to go with. So on the original one, I put the eyes between rounds 14 and 15, kind of. They're a little bit uneven. One looks like it's actually like over top of round 14 instead of in between rounds 14, 15, if that makes sense. On the new one, I decided to put the eyes between rounds 17 and 18, and I think it looks much cuter this way. So the pattern has you crochet the head and the body all in one piece, and I just had to show you how goofy it looks. I really hope I don't regret choosing these eyes, but I'm deciding to trust the process at the moment. I'm hoping when I add all the face details and the ears and stuff, it'll look a little bit cuter. Here's the head and the body all done. The head is massive. And I know that's just how the pattern is, but the fact that I put the eyes down so low to give it like a cutesy vibe, it kind of makes the head look even bigger. So I'm still really trying to trust the process here. I had a vision. We'll see if it works out. I'm kind of eager to get the ears done, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the ears part of the pattern. Let's see what they do next. They do the legs next. I'm gonna skip to the ears. Then they do the arms. Where are the ears? Oh, here we go. All right, we're gonna start the ears now. I just finished both of the ears. What do you think? I think they look best between rounds 7 and 8. I don't know, it looks silly on camera, but that's what we're working with. I'm actually pretty certain that this is the exact skein of yarn that I used for this bunny's nose and blush, because I know I've had this skein since I first started crocheting and it's the same exact color and weight and everything. I'm like 99.9% sure this is the same exact yarn. So I think it'll be fun to still use this color for the nose. I don't know if I'm gonna do the blush still or not. I'm gonna go ahead and sew the face details now. I'm gonna do one of my ASMR style sewing videos, so I'll go ahead and insert that right now. Here's how we're looking as of now. I feel like she's actually turning out super precious. After adding the details, I have no regrets about the eye placement. The lower eye details make her look so cute. Thought about adding eyebrows, but I would want them to match the eyelashes, I feel like, and the black was just a little bit too bold for her, I felt like. So I think I'm gonna opt out of the eyebrows. I'm just gonna try to super quickly crochet the arms, the legs, and the tail because that's all I have left. So far so good, right? Like she's looking really cute. The only thing is I did actually end up freehanding this tail on the original bunny because the pattern actually doesn't include a tail. So I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and freehand a tail again. I'm not gonna try to make it exactly how I made this one because frankly, I think I made that a little bit too big. So yeah, I'm just gonna freehand my own little tail and then we will be all done. Here's the tail I made. I made it super tiny. Here's a comparison of the old one to the new one. It's kind of funny to me that this one was made with a much bulkier yarn, yet this one is so much larger. I really want to add bows to her, but I don't know if I want to put one around her neck or if I want to put one around each ear. You know what? What if I just did all three? I don't care if it's overkill, I'm doing it. I don't know if I love the ear bows. I guess I would if these weren't as long, but I fear if I cut them shorter, they'll just untie really easily. I actually might take these out. Well, we tried. The bow around the neck is really cute still. But yay, here she is. She's all done. What should her name be? Let me know what you would name her in the comments. It truly is like night and day here. This one is so much cuter. Let's do a little close-up comparison. You can clearly see the invisible decrease method works wonders. There are no gaps in the newer bunny. Keep in mind I also probably wasn't using the appropriate hook size in the older one. I also very obviously have since figured out how to add a cute face and make it even. The eyes didn't even look even before. I also found my style along the way with the face details and eye placement. I actually think I might have tried face shaping the original eyes to have them sink in, and I clearly failed. I think that's why they look like that. They're angled a little weird. And most importantly, I think this shows how drastically my sewing skills have improved. The pieces are very simple, and I just was so inexperienced at the time that I had to sew things a little wonky. Overall, I would definitely say the new version is better, but which one do you prefer? I get asked so often how I got so good at crocheting, and I know everyone hates this answer, but it truly is just practice. I think this comparison of my work really solidifies that statement. I've practiced by following tutorials, reading patterns, and even looking up tips and tricks, and all of the other super normal things that people do to practice crochet. But overall, you'll never get better if you don't practice. We all start somewhere, and if I started here and ended up here, so can you. I'm super curious to know if you remember any of your first crochet projects, and have you ever tried to remake them? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoy yarn experiments and crafty content, don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to have you here. And if you'd like to check out any of my pattern collections, I will have some links to my shops down in the description below. So definitely make sure to go check that out. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!